Hello, dear students. I am Samir Velankar. I welcome all of you to this video, which is based on the topic recursive relationships. We are still learning ER model or ER diagrams. Now, in the past videos, we have seen one-to-many relationship, many-to-many relationship, and one-to-one relationship. Now here we are going to learn that there can exist a relation between the two entities such that both entities are same. For example, here I have shown an employee entity. Of course, I have not wasted time in showing attributes like employee will have EMP ID, which will be the primary attribute or primary key underlined, then name and so on. So you assume that there are some attributes to this EMP entity or employee entity like salary. But what is more important is to see this relation which is shown in the form of diamond. I have described this relation as supervises. Now, what is our statement here is that in our company, there are some managers. Just check the statement. In our company, there are some managers, and every manager manages or supervises many employees. But who is manager after all? Manager is an employee. So basically, we don't have any entity called manager itself. We have an entity called employee. And in these, there are many employees, correct? E1, E2, E3, E4, say. Then out of so many employees, few are managers, maybe two or three are managers. And these managers supervise more than one employee, that is n employees. So that is basically our requirement, isn't it so? Wait a minute. So just check out in the recursive relationship. I forgot to refresh the screen. So that's why I was not able to see a few text. Okay. But what is a recursive relationship? See, any relation that we saw up till now in ER model or ER diagram, you know, has been always between occurrences in two different entities. Like we had employee and department, two different entities. There was a relationship. But however, it is possible for the same entity, that is one single entity, to participate in the relationship. This is termed as recursive relationship. Now just consider this statement. Just check out the statement. Every manager, I'll again increase the font. Yeah. Just see this statement. Every manager supervises many employees, correct? And each employee reports to exactly one manager. Just check that there are some managers in the company and every manager supervises many employees. But if you take a single employee, one particular person, that person reports exactly to one manager. And the last point written is very important. Manager is an employee. That's important. So what you see here is the recursive relationship, which says that employee supervises employee. That's how you can read this. Just check, employee supervises employee, isn't it? Now just imagine this employee set is having employees like E1, E2, E3, suppose E4, E5 and E6. Let's say. And just imagine for some time that E1 and E2 are managers. So if you ask this E1 who is manager, who do you supervise? So this manager E1 will say, I supervise, let's say I supervise E3. So I am a manager of E3, and this E1 says that I am manager to E6 also. E6 also. So what do you understand? If you ask one person over here, like E1, how many people you supervise? Then that person may say, I supervise many, many people. So on this side, you see, we have written n, many side. Whereas we have written one on the other side. Just check that. We have written one on the other side here. Why? Because if you ask some person like E6, who do you report to? Who is your manager? So E6 will point out that say E1 is my manager, isn't it? Because that's our requirement gathering. Just check. It is written that each employee reports to exactly one manager. Isn't it so? Now, multiple times, I have observed that recursive relationship is very difficult to be understood by students. Now, this can be best understood if you think of the table, the actual table that will be created. Just see, this is the ER diagram, isn't it? This is nothing but the ER diagram that we have created. But what will be the table for this? Now, the table here, when we convert this into relational model, correct? That's the point. Then the table created will contain EMPID, definitely. And this will be the primary key, isn't it? No two employees can have same employee number. Then we may have name and all other attributes will be there like salary and all that. But what is most important is that there will be an attribute, there will be a column over here called manager number. Let's say M underscore NO, manager number. Now suddenly, this column has been added to this employee table. This is the table that we have created, employee. Agreed? And this employee table will contain this manager number as the column. And this manager number is the foreign key. This is the foreign key which references, just check this, which references primary key of the same table. The primary key is EMPID. Okay, what did you understand? Let's see. Suppose these are our employees. Employee number 1, employee number 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say 6. Let's take 6 employees. Okay. And just imagine, I write for employee number 1, let's not think of names and all that, all other attributes. But I say that 1 has manager number 5. What do you understand from this? Is this person, employee number 1, is supervised by employee number 5 because manager of employee number 1 is employee number 5. So what is this manager number? This manager number is nothing but employee number because manager is after all an employee, isn't it? So suppose I say this employee number 2 is managed or has a manager 7 with employee number 7. This is wrong, senseless because we do not have a person with employee number 7. Are you understanding? Foreign key references the primary key. So you cannot have a value like 7 under the foreign key column if you do not have that value 7 under the primary key column. Yes, everyone, I hope you have understood. So it is meaningful to say that employee number, just let me clean some slate. It is valid to say that the employee number 2 reports, let's say, to 6. So the manager of this person, employee number 2, is the person who has employee number 6. Even employee number 3, let's say, is managed by 5. Employee number 4 is managed again by 5. Employee number 5 is managed by 6. And employee number 6 is managed by none. Now, this is confusion. This is confusion in recurrence relation or recursive relationship. You can observe that this person, which I am pointing out, who has employee number 5, himself or herself is a manager. Then, does he or she have manager? It is possible that even a manager reports to another manager, isn't it? So, who is the manager of this manager who has employee number 5? This employee number 5 reports or is supervised by employee number 6. And now just imagine this employee number 6 is the CEO of the company. No doubt that CEO is also an employee. But then this employee number 6 does not report to anyone. Come on, CEO of the company won't be supervised by anyone. Then we will store a special value null over here. We will store null, saying that there is no manager for employee number 6. So a new lesson that you are getting over here is that the foreign key column can contain null values. One constraint you already know, one limitation or one rule you already know, that whatever you store in the foreign key column, whatever you store must be present in the primary key column to which it refers. Correct? So you cannot have a manager with number 7 because there is no such employee ID 7. And one more thing that you understood is there might be times when you have to make this foreign key null if you don't know the value of the manager number to which a person reports. So this is the way how the table is going to get created in the relational model for recursive relationships. Okay, I hope you have understood this. Now, let's see one more example. Let's see. That's what I have described here. You can go through this. You can pause the video and you can check that manager number. What I have written is manager number is the foreign key which references the EMP ID of the same table. And the table will have EMP ID, EMP name, EMP salary. Look at this manager number. Manager number is the new column which will be added so that it is foreign key which references the EMP ID. EMP ID is the primary key of this table. Let's take one more example. Let's see, consider a statement like this. Just check the statement. Every monitor in a class supervises many students. Each student reports to exactly one monitor. Monitor is a student. So what will be the ER diagram for this statement? You just check. Definitely we will have an entity in our ER diagram as student entity. So there will be an entity called student and we will have a relation over here. Correct? This is a recursive relation. Yes. And we will say student monitors. Correct? Monitors other students. Now what will be the cardinality? Suppose you select some monitor from the class S1. S1 is the monitor. This S1 will say I monitor many students. Correct or not? Yes. So N we have written on the other side. And if you ask some student like S10, some particular student, you ask, who is your monitor? Then this person will say, S1 is my monitor. Correct or not? So maybe there are 3 monitors in the class, S1, S2, S3. But if you ask anyone, S1, S2, S3, they will say, I manage many students, so N students. But check, each student reports to exactly one monitor. Correct or not? So this becomes the entity relationship for recursive relationship between student and student itself. Now, when we convert this into relational model, what exactly we will have here is that in the student table, we will have roll number, obviously, roll number, and roll number of the student will be primary key, underline it. Then name, then course maybe in which the student has enrolled, correct? So some more columns, address of the student, phone number of the student, but most importantly, we will have something like monitor number, isn't it? Let's call it as MNO, monitor number. Now just check, this monitor number will be a foreign key which references primary key roll number. So this is a new column we have added, monitor number. Now let's say we have students like 1, roll number 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So suppose we say this student having roll number 1 has monitor 4. So what that means is that monitor of roll number 1 is 4, but monitor of roll number 2 is also 4. Now can you have something like this? Monitor of roll number 3 is 5. Oh, that's not possible, isn't it? That's not possible because there is no such student with roll number 5. So existence of a value in the foreign key column can be only there if there is a value under primary key column. That's what we mean by referencing. Just check out. It is possible that we can say roll number 3 also reports to 4, isn't it so? And let's say 4 is the monitor, and this monitor is the ranked highest under all monitors. Then this monitor does not report to anyone. So that will be null. So it can happen that foreign keys can store null values. Okay. That's what I have described over here in words. You can go through this. How monitor number, just check, monitor number is the foreign key which refers to roll number of the same table student. That is how the recursive relations can be seen. And we have understood, I hope you have understood the meaning of the recursive relation. Thank you very much.